The Olympic venues in Lake Placid are huge drivers of the Adirondack economy, maybe the biggest. People come for Whiteface and the 1980 Miracle on Ice skating rink and the ski jumps and the bobsled and luge run, etc., etc. And the state has poured $500 million and counting into them lately. But the agency that runs them made a frank and troubling admission recently. There's no plan to keep all those venues in good working order for the long term. Tomorrow, ORDA's board will debate what to do about that. That's today's story of the day.
Support for Story of the Day comes from Pearsall Wealth Management at UBS Wealth Management USA, subsidiary UBS AG, member FINRA SIPC, 1 Broad Street, Glens Falls.
Hey, I'm David Sommerstein. It's Thursday, February 19th. First up, New York State Police say a damaged propane line caused the explosion that destroyed Abundant Life Church in Boonville. Police say 3 firefighters and a pastor were in the basement Tuesday morning after a report of a gas odor. Firefighters were trying to turn off the building's power when the furnace turned on and triggered the explosion. Another firefighter was ventilating the first floor and was thrown against a wall during the blast. All 5 were seriously injured and are being treated at area hospitals. Police say 2 firefighters remain in critical condition. Police say that heavy snow accumulation caused the roof to slump, damaging the propane line. The investigation is ongoing. Civil liberties groups are pushing back on Governor Kathy Hochul's proposed ban on AI-generated campaign attack ads. Walter Wuthman reports for the New York Public News Network.
Hochul says her proposal would curb the recent rise in negative AI campaign ads. In the New York City mayoral election, former Governor Andrew Cuomo's campaign posted a depiction of now Mayor Zohran Mamdani eating rice with his hands as his supporters committed crimes. The campaign quickly took it down. But former ACLU President Nadine Strawson says even offensive speech is protected by law.
An absolute ban on a whole medium of expression, I think, is almost automatically unconstitutional under the First Amendment.
The governor's office says the ban passes legal muster. Lawmakers are considering the proposal as they review the state budget. In New York City, I'm Walter Wuthman for the New York Public News Network.
Over the last decade, Lake Placid has revitalized its role in international sports, with the state investing hundreds of millions of dollars into its Olympic sites. Those venues are hosting major competitions like never before. But the agency that runs those sites says there's something ominous on the horizon. The leader of the Olympic Regional Development Authority says it doesn't have the skills to manage the venues long term. As Emily Russell reports, ORDA is expected to make a big decision about what to do next at its meeting tomorrow.
Lake Placid hosted the 1932 and 1980 Winter Olympics. Some of the venues were upgraded in the years that followed, but it wasn't until about a decade ago that they all got comprehensive upgrades as New York State pumped massive amounts of money into the region. Governor Kathy Hochul was in Lake Placid 4 years ago to celebrate those upgrades.
We've already invested over $400 million the past 5 years to modernize all the ORDA facilities. But this year's budget, I said we're not done.
The money kept coming, with upgrades to the Olympic ski jumping complex, to the skating rinks, to Whiteface and Gore Mountains. ORDA board chairman Joe Martens was also at that event back in 2022.
ORDA's venues are in better shape today than they were when they were originally constructed for the Olympics. In fact, they're among the best in the world.
Those upgrades have spurred a new wave of international events in recent years. Lake Placid has hosted the World University Games, as well as World Cup events for luge, bobsled, parabobsled, ski jumping, aerials, and mountain biking. And next month, it'll host World Cup finals for cross-country skiing. ORDA says its venues attract about 1 million visitors a year who spend more than $130 million locally. But despite all that investment, ORDA is losing money and struggling to maintain some of its key assets. Last year, the state agency had a record loss of more than $50 million. Also last year, a structural issue forced ORDA to cancel a ski jumping World Cup. At its latest board meeting in December, ORDA President and CEO Ashley Walden sounded the alarm.
They're currently in a state of triage. We have to get out of it.
Despite the recent and expensive upgrades, Walden reminded the board that many of the Olympic facilities are more than 4 decades old. Plus, she said ORDA doesn't have the skilled staff to plan for long-term maintenance.
If we don't maintain our assets correctly, we're going to wear them down faster, which means that we have to replace them faster. And that has a huge capital cost.
So Walden, who's been in the top role for just a few years now, proposed spending $3 million to hire a consulting firm from Colorado. That firm would evaluate all of ORDA's facilities and write a 30-year plan for the agency's operations and finances. ORDA's staff would then be tasked with putting that plan in place and following through over the next 3 decades. But several board members at the December meeting questioned why that work can't be done in-house. ORDA employs more than 1,500 people, including managers at all of its sites. Art Lucy asked why those managers can't focus on long-term issues during the off-season.
I don't think it's unreasonable if you have faith in those managers to be able to do planning from May to October. So I'm not sold on this, and I'm not going to support it.
Ed Kowalewski, one of ORDA's lawyers, responded to Lucy's concern. For one thing, many of the Olympic sites now host events year-round. Plus, Kowalewski said the on-site managers at ORDA don't have the expertise when it comes to long-term maintenance.
They don't have the knowledge. They couldn't tell you the first thing other than what they did yesterday and what they're supposed to do tomorrow. And a lot of that is driven by what broke last week and what has to be done tomorrow.
Another concern shared by some ORDA board members was what $3 million would actually buy them. Former state assemblyman and board member Billy Jones said he's seen money wasted on reports from outside firms.
Every organization you go into, first thing is hire a consultant, get a plan, do this, and it sits on a shelf.
The consulting firm that ORDA is looking to hire has worked with other state agencies, as well as the U.S. Olympic and Paralympic Committee. Still, ORDA board member Bill Beeney wondered how a Colorado-based firm could really grasp what's needed at the Olympic sites in Lake Placid.
I just don't know how insightful they're going to be with our unique facilities. And $3 million can buy an awful lot.
Beeney and others wondered why ORDA doesn't just hire staff to focus on long-term issues. But Walden said it's difficult just to fill the daily operational roles at their sites.
We struggle like many organizations, particularly those in the remote regions that we operate in, with skilled labor, electricians, mechanics, regular just building maintenance and facilities are the jobs that we constantly struggle to fill.
This debate became more urgent earlier this month when a maintenance issue caused a major problem at one of ORDA's sites. Lift operators at Gore Mountain discovered a mechanical problem that left nearly 70 skiers stranded in gondolas. Governor Kathy Hochul briefed reporters about the issue as it was unfolding.
This is a situation we're taking very seriously, and the rescue teams are on the ground trying to restore the power, but also to extract people from this frightening situation.
It took hours to hoist all the skiers down from the gondolas at Gore. There were no injuries, but it was a risky situation, one that the daily safety checks didn't prevent. NCPR requested a follow-up interview with ORDA's president, Ashley Walden, but she wasn't made available. Chad Cassidy is a vice president at ORDA and the general manager of the Olympic Center in downtown Lake Placid. He says spending $3 million for a consulting firm is a smart investment in ORDA's long-term future.
And it's going to help my staff in terms of being able to focus on our daily operations and making sure that our guests and our local folks have a great experience at all the venues that they go to.
At their meeting this Friday, ORDA's board of directors will vote on the $3 million consulting contract. That work could take more than a year to complete. Meanwhile, ORDA says it will continue to operate its facilities without a long-term maintenance plan in place. Emily Russell, North Country Public Radio.
We have more news all the time on our website, ncpr.org. Music today by Mark Corey of Watertown and Sterling Brownell of Old Forge. I'm David Summerstein, North Country Public Radio.